Hey teachers, in today's video we're going to take a look at how you can do conditional formatting for pixel art. There's a lot of different ways that you can actually do the conditional formatting, and sometimes we get lost in all of the confusion. It's like I see a YouTube video that shows this one method, then I see another video that shows a different method. How do I know which method is going to be best, and how do I know which method is going to be best for me and my students? So in today's video, we will take a quick look at 3 different formats that you can use, and we'll break down some of the pros and cons of each one. All right, now the first type of conditional formatting that we'll take a look at is pretty much your basic formatting. This is how a lot of people create their resources. The first thing we want to do is sketch out our image. Sometimes I like to make my image slightly different in color than I plan on having my final image. That way I know which part of the image I have changed or done the conditional formatting for, and which part I haven't. That's not necessary though. All right, so in this case, we're going to take these cells. I want all these cells to turn black. And since that's not a main part of the image, we'll have that show up first. With conditional formatting this way, it's easiest to format all of the same color at once because you only have to do one conditional format for each color. We'll go up to Format, down to Conditional Formatting. You can also access that from the Fill tool. And as you notice, all of those cells that I just selected are highlighted. We'll go here and change to Custom Formula Is. We want to check for if students have answered question 1 correctly. So we'll go down to H7, and we want that to only look at cell H7. We don't want it to wander around the sheet. To do that, we'll lock it with a $sign. And we'll lock the 7 as well. We want H7 to equal whatever our answer is. In this case, for simplicity, we're going to call the answer to question 1, 1. So what this formula is telling the sheet is to check H7 and see if H7 has the number or value 1 in the cell. And if it does, we want it to turn to black. So now we'll click Done. And then we're going to just reset the image. That way we can see that, okay, that image no longer has black in the image. However, if a student types in the correct answer, the black appears. If a student types in the incorrect answer, nothing happens. So we'll just keep that clear for now. And then let's say for number 2, we want to grab bits of his hat. So we'll just take these. And since his shirt's the same color, I'm going to take bits of his shirt as well. And we'll do add another row for conditional formatting. You'll notice that all the cells I selected are listed here. If you want to add an additional cell or take one away, you can just add it here or click on this to delete them and add ranges. But since it has what I want, we'll just go to Custom Formula Is. And this time we want to do equals. Instead of H7, this time we're looking at cell H9. And don't forget the $sign. That'll tell the sheet to look only at cell H9. And the correct answer for that one we'll say is 2. In this case, we want it to turn this nice red color. And then we'll click on Done. I like to go through and clear out my formatting so I know which part of the image has already been completed. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for the entire image so that we have 10 different questions, and each part or each question that's answered, a different part of the image appears. So I'm going to speed that process up for you. All right, so now we have all our conditional formatting done, and we used the paint bucket tool to fill everything back in white so that the students can't see the image until the correct answer is typed in. So if you look through our conditional formatting, we have all our different colors with all the different cells that we listed there. And we can close out our conditional formatting now. And as students type in the correct answer, the image begins to appear. Okay, so that's basically your basic formatting. You're telling the sheet to change these cells to a certain color when this cell equals a certain value or word. Now, if you are using a word, you have to do something a little bit different. You have to put that information in quotation marks, and I'll post another video about that. Next, let's take a look at another way to do our conditional formatting, and that's when the answer does, or sorry, we'll format it so that it does not equal the answer.
Some of the pros for basic formatting is you have an unlimited image size. And what I mean by that is the sheet can always keep up with the formatting that you're putting in. One pro also is the image can't easily be edited if you're creating an image and then, for example, selling it on TPT. As for the cons, it's very time consuming. Answers can be viewed in the formatting, so if a student clicks on the conditional formatting, they can actually see the answer. It's really difficult to edit compared to setting up with an answer key. And I know I said this was a pro, but it could also be a con that the image isn't easy to edit. Let's say you want to change something that's not a quick, easy fix.
Now, for this example, we'll use the same questions, same answers. We'll just have one be set for our answer to number one, two be set for number two, etc. Now, for this conditional formatting, it's a little bit different because we're actually going to leave the image with the fill tool. Okay, for this one, we made the image with the paint bucket tool, and we're just going to keep it there. And instead of telling the conditional formatting to change to that color, we're going to tell the conditional formatting to change to white. Now, this is what we'll call an overlay. Instead of actually conditional formatting the image to appear, we're going to conditionally format a layer of white to appear over top of the image when the student does not have the correct answer in that section. So because we're doing this that way, we don't have to have all the same pixels at the same time because we don't have to choose a color. The color that we'll choose is white. So I'm just going to click on some random cells here. Okay, grab a little bit of each color so that it's completely random. And I want to grab, since I have 10 questions, I want to do about a tenth of my pixels or cells. Again, we'll go into the conditional formatting. I'll show you the other way to get into the conditional formatting this time from the fill tool. All these are highlighted, and for some reason I have this cell highlighted, so hold on one second. Okay, and we want to do a custom formula again, and in this case we'll reference back to that cell H7. We use the dollar sign again. Don't forget we always start our formulas with an equal sign. And this time we don't want it to equal 1.
So we'll do less than or greater than 1.
And if that's the case, we want to do a white overlay. And I'm going to clear out J2 through AH5. That's actually my title cell. I'm not sure how that got included in there. And then we'll click done. So what we've done here is we've told the sheet, if this cell does not have the number 1 in it, I want you to put a white coloring over top of this. When I type in the correct answer 1, those cells come back. We'll go ahead and do that for the next one. So again, we can grab some completely random cells. Maybe I'll grab the yellow this time. Add another rule. Custom formula is, and we want our sheet reference. I copy and pasted. I recommend doing that. It makes things a little bit faster.
And in this case, we're saying that H9 is less than or greater than 2.
And we want that to turn white. That's our white overlay. And we'll continue this process until we've used all the cells from the image. So I'll go ahead and speed up that process. All right, now that I've finished doing all the white overlay conditional formatting for this image, you'll notice that as students type in the wrong answer, still nothing happens. But if students type in the correct answer, the image starts to appear. And you'll notice that in this particular image, now they're appearing in a more of a random pattern than our first one. Next up, we'll take a look at how to match an answer key to your image. So instead of putting the actual answer into the cell, you can match it so that it matches another cell on the sheet or another cell on a separate sheet. This is often used to create a template that multiple teachers plan to use, or, for example, a template that you plan to use. Maybe you like the image, but then the following year you want to set different questions to it. This is the type of formatting I would recommend for that type of resource because it's a lot easier to change what the correct answer is. You wouldn't have to go into the conditional formatting. You could just change the answer on your answer key. Let's take a look at that now.
When creating pixel art with a white overlay, there's two big pros. One is that formatting is really easy to do with multiple colors at a time. Another is if you need to go back and fix or change your image, it's really simple. As for the cons, the image is actually revealed when a student goes in and deletes the conditional formatting. Now, obviously, the student didn't answer the questions, so they didn't complete the assignment, but that could be problematic. Another con is that you're limited to the image size. The sheet can't keep up with the overlay, and the students get a quick glimpse of the image if it's over around 1,000 cells. And it's also challenging to edit the answers because you have to go into the conditional formatting.
All right, so let's take a look at matching to an answer key. This one will look a lot like our basic formatting. The difference is we're formatting it back to an answer key or another sheet. That way, when we type in the basic formatting, the students don't see the answer. Like, for example, if a student clicked on this and went to conditional formatting, they can actually see the answer. Okay, so 2 is actually in there, the answer 2 from the problem. But if we match it to an answer key, the students won't be able to see that. And then it also makes for easy resources to edit. So let's say you like the image, but next year you decide you wanted different questions, or if you want to use this as a template to share with other teachers, if you set it to an answer key, they don't have to go in and change the conditional formatting. They would just have to change the answer or the numbers on the answer key. All right, so let's take a look at how to do that. We'll highlight a few different cells. Similar to the basic formatting, we want to grab the same color at the same time. And we'll go up into our conditional formatting. All of our cells are selected. We want to do a custom formula. And in this case, our custom formula is going to be a little bit different than it was for the last one. We'll still start it off with H7. Then we'll put another equal sign. That equal sign is letting us know that we want H7 to equal another value like it did in the past. But in this case, we're going to use the indirect function. And what the indirect function allows us to do in this case is reference another sheet. We'll start that with a parenthesis and then a quotation mark, and we'll type in the sheet we want to reference exactly as it is on our sheet title. So if you notice, I don't have any spaces and I have just the title here with a capital A and a capital K. We need to close that off with an exclamation mark and then reference the cell that we're looking for. In this case, I wanted to reference cell B1. We'll close that with a quotation and a parenthesis. This is the color I chose, so we'll pick that color and then we'll click done. And what that does, we'll clear this out, reset. So now that's white. What that does is it checks with this answer key, and if the answer key and cell H7 match, then the coloring will show up. If they don't match, nothing happens. So if I type in the same value that's in that answer key, cell B1, which is the value 1, those cells or images, or sorry, those cells or colors will appear. Let's do the same thing for question 2. So I'm grabbing a bunch of the same color, add another rule, custom formula. In this case, we're using this custom formula where we're referencing using the indirect function. First, we'll type the cell that we're looking at, which is H9, and then we'll type in the indirect function with our title of that sheet and then where we want it to reference. In this case, we're looking for it to reference cell B2. We need this red, and then we'll click done. Go ahead and clear out that formatting. So now whenever I type in the correct answer from that answer key, our image starts to reappear. I'll go ahead and speed up that process for the rest of this image as well. All right, so now that all the conditional formatting is done for this one, it will match whatever the answer key has on that. So for example, if I go in and change the answer key, let's say I want this to now equal 0 and this to equal 1, and use it a different school year. If I go back in here, sorry, 0 wasn't a good example because it reads the cell. A blank cell is 0. So let's say I wanted that first one to be 9, and then 1, and then 3 for the following year. Well, now this no longer accepts 1, it accepts 9, and then 1 instead of 2. Okay, so that's how you could easily make a sheet that you could change from one year to the next. Or if you're creating a template for other teachers, maybe you're a Teachers Pay Teachers seller and you want to build out a template, you can easily create an answer key that will reference that cell. And then you can tell teachers to go and change the information in that cell.
I love setting up my answers to an answer key because it gives us an unlimited image size. The questions and answers are super easy to edit because all we have to do is type them into the cells. We don't have to go into the conditional formatting. And I like that students can't see the answer just by clicking on the conditional formatting. As for cons, it takes a lot of time, very similar to your basic formatting, and it's not easy to edit the image in case you made a mistake or you want something to be slightly different than it was.
All right, and then the last type of conditional formatting, not going to take the time to show you this one because the formula is rather lengthy, but you can actually also create an image that doesn't match a cell, or sorry, doesn't match the answer key. So for example, here we get the same benefits of the not matching the answer key, but then we also get the benefits of being able to easily go through and change the information. Okay, so now clear out these, and we didn't have to change the conditional format. So you can make a little bit more of a complex image with formatting such as that.
When you use a white overlay in an answer key, one of the greatest pros is that you can actually make an editable template that you can use over and over again, or you can just copy and paste the formatting. The questions, answers, and image are all super easy to edit, and the answers still can't be found in the conditional formatting. Some of the cons are similar to the others with the white overlay. The image is revealed if the formatting is erased, and you're also still limited to 1,000 cells or less. But if you're creating 1,000 cells or less in your image, this may be an option for you if you're trying to save time but still make some amazing looking resources.
All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure that if you want to see more stuff about Google Sheets and how to create resources, click that subscribe button and make sure that you like this video. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Good luck. If you have questions, reach out.